We are live on YouTube. It is a Wednesday, August 13th, 2025. The ratings are out. These are the 6 plus radio ratings for July. And boy, do they tell a story. Now, first, I always say this with a cough, no less. These are the so called beauty contest numbers. These are not the advertising ratings that ad people buy off of, but they are a very accurate reflection of the overall tenure of a radio station. And it is a further validation. I hate to use that word, but I'm going to explain to you something. Those of you say, oh, all you do is pick on KNBR, you pick on KCBS, you have nothing good to say. I have nothing good to say because there is nothing good to say. KCBS, July 2025. Oh, hallelujah. You went up a point and you lead the news radio station ratings. Well, guess what? You're the only station. You compete against yourself. You have no competition, KCBS. Therefore, hallelujah. Meanwhile, your cume is non-existent. People know the story, folks. KCBS, I don't have a penny invested in you guys. I say what's on my mind. If I actually thought there was talent, if there was ingenuity, hell, if it was just competence, I would note that, excel at that. I'd be really happy to say that. KCBS is a joke, and it's a summer month. People have you on preset, those who still have AM or FM. They drive to work and they listen to you for traffic reports. Nobody listens to the morning at KCBS or the afternoon. But that's another broadcast. The very little radio that we have in this fakakta town, the Bay Area, it's more like a town and a half. These sports radio stations, that's the only formats that are surviving: sports, news talk, and some news stations. That's across the entire land. KNBR, you're hemorrhaging, and you know it. And that symbolic, powerless fucking program director who gets paid extra Subway coupons so he could buy a tuna sandwich, he's in over his head. He's got no power. He's got no authority. He can't go up to anybody and fire anybody unless it's some underling or an intern like the other frat boy Uber drivers. Anyway, KMBR hemorrhaged. Went from a 3-0 down into the 2-7. 2-7. Mind you, July, right in the peak of baseball season. Now, I know the Giants are hemorrhaging themselves, but still, a sports radio station that goes from a 3-6 to a 3-0, now below 3 again, to a 2-7. Folks, this is what this proves, okay? Listeners, for the most part, who still listen to terrestrial radio, especially in this market, they're not dumb. They will treat shit and crap with rejection. And that's what they've done with KNBR, who put on these stat boys like Larry Krueger, who knows about fourth round draft picks and sits there and basically ejaculates over Texas Southern fourth round linebackers. Nobody gives a shit about that. Larry Krueger is no personality. Neither is Kobe Copes, Adam Copeland, and your stupid, dirty work, which you call the best show in America. It's not even the best show on KNBR. It's a horrible show with Neanderthals and rejects and engineers who are working as on-air people because you have nobody. There's no pulse there. And even with the 49ers season beckoning, you're still awful. Then you have 95.7 The Game. Now, look, I have said often, while I don't think 95.7 The Game is a good lox and bagel sandwich in and of itself, at least they have something. The morning show, the morning roast with Joe Shasky and whomever. They have humor, they have a little bit of wit, they talk pop culture, but it sounds natural because they're trying. They're having conversations. A little too earthy for me. The jocular mentions are a little bit too much, but at least it's worth listening to. Anyway, they didn't have a good month, and they're now below 1. They're at 0.8. And mind you, they carry the Warriors. Now, I don't think the Warriors have any kind of following, no less on radio, terrestrial radio, even though it's FM. It still drives the car at 95.7 The Game. And mostly all of their talent are KNBR rejects. And they're handicapped. They don't have much money. This, folks, might drive some very, very vast personnel changes at 95.7 The Game because they're not paying these guys anything, just like KNBR. There's a few who get top dollar, but not a lot. But it's an overall reflection of our market, a top 10 market that has shit. I'm sorry, I'm just telling it like it should be. Doesn't take a heroic pat on the back. I'm giving you what you should be getting. Nobody covers radio. Nobody covers television except moi and KCBS, the all news station. A competitor? No. They compete against themselves. And they got some good news in July. Big deal. They have no cume. They have no reporters. The anchors that they do have are not even mediocre, but they got the numbers. So you'll be able to hear more ads on KCBS. So we know KCBS really doesn't run any ads. So that's good for them. And Odyssey, maybe their stock will go up to 7 cents now from 5 cents. But at least they have some modicum of sense. Not a program director, not a news director. Good old Jenny. I guess she can now go to Nordstrom's more because she got a good report card. Oh la la. The music stations, there's not really any music station. I listen to Star 1013 only because they play a few good tunes. And I like their morning show until I realized and found out that one of the bits they do, which is a second date ghosting, is something that was paid for, that several radio stations across the land pay for. Consultants telling radio stations that are still alive, here's how you can compete, do things. Here, let's call it a second date segment. It's a format that's used by any number of radio stations all over the land, from Austin to Amarillo, Sacramento, San Francisco, Boston. Anyway, it's fakakta, schlock, drac. But the sports stations are especially putrid. KMBR, again, I don't know how they do it in terms of staying on the air. They literally 5 months ago did not have the money to pay for the lights. They had to get one of those cumulus slush funds to help pay for the lights, which is one of the reasons why they lost their little promotion with Subway, which basically they got free coupon sandwiches that they can give to some of the interns who, by the way, work on the air. The afternoon show is god awful. Stat guys, and a guy, Kopi Copes, who thinks he's the greatest gift since God and sliced bread, who's horrible. Then they have geeks, fanboys like Larry Krueger, who should be ashamed of himself. But Larry needs the money, I guess. $100 per show helps to pay for some of the groceries. It's a good thing your wife works, Larry. You know all about that. And then you have a putrid morning show where the mainstay, he gets paid so he could do commercials about clicking his toenails and his outdoor deck and his lovely country home in the middle of the Central Valley, which he used to make jokes about. Now he does ads for River Island and Poverty Credit Union. He's got a great life until he doesn't have a great life and they tell him to get the hell out because they just realized after the umpteenth audit that they're making no money on that show, that they got a guy named Dorcas who got the show because he works cheap, and they fired the other moron, Polly Crap, and his soundboard so he can go to Marin and talk to his fourth wife and make excuses as to why he sucks too. This is how bad it is at KNBR. Damon Bruce applied to be rehired at KNBR. True story. Now, Damon knows he's not going to get a job at KNBR, much like he's not going to get a job in Bay Area radio because nobody can pay, number one. And number two, Damon, you're yesterday. You are the day before yesterday. It's a good thing wifey, the groupie who loved you, mainly because you got her 2 tickets to a Giants game, fell madly in love, and God bless you, Damien. You got a kid out of it. So call mom in Indiana, tell her you're thrilled, and move on from there, okay? Look, folks, the radio here is putrid, is awful, is disgusting, is pathetic. You can go on and on and on. I've put up a link so you can look at all the numbers and see for yourself what your station did. Those of you, those 5 of you that still listen to the radio in the Bay Area. It's Wednesday. We're live on YouTube. Tell your friends, your enemies, your neighbor, your priest, your lawyer, your rabbi about Rich, moi. I'm the only one who gives an honest opinion. I am the only one who talks about media in the Bay Area. I will call out the Chronicle and crap and Blue Burrito newspaper like the Chronicle and restaurants on SF Gate and SFist, a shill like Brian Murphy, because I am not beholden to advertisers. I am not beholden to special interests. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you later.